Welcome to the Brave Woman Podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Lynn, founder of Sistership Circle and author of Open Your Heart and The Art of Leading Circle. I'm the mother of 2 girls, an 8 on the Enneagram, aka the Challenger, happily married to my business partner, Brent, love connecting with nature, and have put in well over 10,000 hours circling with other women. On this podcast, we will explore how to embody the brave woman so that you can take action on your dreams and desires, unapologetically speak your truth, and live life on your own terms. Grab a seat and a cup of tea, and let's get started. Welcome to season 4 of the Brave Woman Podcast. We've taken a 6-month break, and I've got to say, I'm so grateful that I decided to do seasons and to take these breaks because it's a huge commitment to show up every single week for a podcast in addition to everything else that I'm doing. And there's something that happens when I get to take some space from it and then come back feeling really energized and inspired to set a new intention and to feel like my heart is fully in it versus just another thing to do. So this season's intention is to follow the magic and be spirit-led. And in the next episode, you'll meet Juanita, who's going to talk a little bit more about being spirit-led. And I love, 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 love this interview with her. Seriously, it was such medicine, such magic. And I was thinking about, where am I at in this moment to set an intention for the season? And I am definitely being spirit-led. I came back to Costa Rica just a few days ago. And when I arrived at the airport in San Jose, it was about 11 o'clock at night, and I had a voicemail from a dear sister. And she said, I just had a dream about you and the girls, and I wanted to let you know that I am here and available. If you'd like to go join Brent at Burning Man, I'll watch the girls for 3 days for you. Now, this is so magical on so many levels. Number one, the fact that she was just thinking about me and had this dream about me and reached out to me when I had just a week earlier put out a prayer saying, okay, calling in the childcare for me to go to Burning Man. Now, Brent goes to Burning Man every single year, and he really wanted me to go this year, and I was just a no. It didn't feel good for my nervous system. It didn't feel like something I wanted to do. I was like, I'll go to the desert. And the last time I was there was in 2019, and I had this very profound experience. I felt like I went into this other world and experienced kind of this underground realm of Burning Man. And it was extremely powerful, but there was something about it that scared me. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that again. That informed a lot of the work that I had been doing in Circle over the last couple years. And I feel like that really not only set me up for receiving everything that I received during COVID, but also is part of what led us down to Costa Rica in the first place. And now I feel like I'm kind of in this existential crisis of, do I actually want to be in Costa Rica? Can I still spearhead this project of De La Diosa and not physically be there in this moment? And so what would it look like for me to go back to San Diego for a year and work on the project from the comfort of America, and get myself out of the jungle, get myself out of the day-to-day of living in Costa Rica and see what would happen? So I've been in that conversation all summer, and one thing has just led to another to really have me make that choice and follow guidance to stay in San Diego and reevaluate after 6 weeks. So I'm gonna stay in San Diego and put my girls in a school, and then after 6 weeks, we're gonna reevaluate if we want to stay there for the year or come back. And there's some conditions that need to be put in place. And this is something that I've learned over the past year, especially over the past 6 weeks, or sorry, 6 months that I've been on hiatus from the podcast, is what is the container? Do you have the conditions in place? And what I mean by that is essentially the masculine backbone, the masculine structures to then allow the feminine to flow. So if we really want to follow the magic, if we want to be spirit-led, what are the earth-based systems and structures? What is the container? What are the conditions that we need to put in place to really allow ourselves to be in our highest frequency and to then listen intuitively to spirit? So what I take from this is a lot of times we think, oh, well, I just need to go here and I just need to go there, and this is where spirit's taking me. And it's really truly in the feminine. And for me, it's about this integration of the masculine and feminine, that we actually have a container. We have that masculine holding us in this earth plane to then let that guidance come through and direct us in a way that's not like pie in the sky, that isn't out in the clouds, but actually still rooted and steeped in being here on this earth. So that's essentially what I have been in. And then it was like, all right, for some reason, I'm feeling the little niggle to go to Burning Man. But what are the conditions to get there, right? The conditions are I need childcare and I need a ticket. So I get this message from my friend, and then the next day, actually that night, so I get into Costa Rica, it's 11 o'clock at night, I post on Facebook. The very next day I have tons of messages for tickets available, and it just all came together effortlessly in less than 24 hours. So conditions in place for me to now go to Burning Man and perhaps go down a similar portal into that other world, the spirit world of Burning Man, and receive the guidance, receive the medicine, allow myself to fully get the next steps of my path. So deep breath with that, and feeling really grateful for the work that I've done to actually get to this place of finding that integration and allowing myself to follow the magic. And there's been so many times in my life when this has happened. And I find that the most powerful transitions in Sistership Circle, my business, have happened as a result of really following the magic. And the first time that this happened was actually when I came out with the very first 12-week program, the Open Your Heart curriculum, that was based on my book. And this was back in, 2013? 2014. Yeah, 2014. And I had this intuitive hit that I was going to turn the book into the Circle curriculum. And I only had 6 weeks mapped out. We got to the end of those 6 weeks, and the group was like, we're not ending. We're going to keep going. And so we had a meeting for week 7, and it was a co-creation meeting. And one of the women said, hey, Tanya, we've just followed the first 6 chapters of the book. Let's follow the next 6 chapters of the book. And so the curriculum was essentially born by that group. And it really was clear to me that I couldn't really make any plans because it was just a one foot in front of the other and the path would be revealed. Little did I know that that would turn into How to Lead Circle, and that it would continue to then impact and inspire tens, if not hundreds of thousands of women around the world. So yeah, I could say that that was definitely one of those spirit-led conversations and really allowing the magic to reveal itself in the space. And then I think about Feminine Uprising Live, that same thing happened, and yeah, so many stories. And so it's just this reminder for me and for you that we don't have to have everything logically figured out all the time. And a lot of times we like to hang out in the head and we like to have it all figured out before we take action. But what if we trusted the process? What if we allowed ourselves to follow the magic? So this summer, in addition to this whole conversation happening, and I think actually this is really truly the thing that had me think, maybe I actually do want to go to Burning Man, is right before I left Costa Rica to come back to San Diego for the summer, I had this hit that I needed to lead a retreat, the Mastery into the Depths retreat. That would be the opening weekend essentially for our mastery program, but it would also be open and inclusive for anyone who wants to do some deeper circle work and with the focus of bringing depth to circle leadership. And man, oh man, am I happy that I trusted that hit, because that retreat just a few weeks ago was a game changer. It was a reminder to me of how important in-person work is, how important it is for us to build De La Diosa, to have retreats, how important it is for us to show up for community live experiences. And that was the little niggle around going to Burning Man, was go be in community, go be in the live experience where the magic is, where the tribes converge, because essentially that's what Burning Man is, because that's really truly where the deepest work is done. So that's my intention, is to receive the medicine at Burning Man, and then to bring that medicine back out into my work, into the world, into my family, into my community. And at that retreat, God, so many things happened. We had this portal open up during this one exercise where each woman went into the middle of the circle, and literally women were feeling like they were being pulled in, and everyone was channeling these messages. And I've done this exercise many times online, and I have actually done it in person as well. It's an old exercise that I've been doing, and nothing has ever compared to how potent the space was, how we went into this portal of the unknown and allowed it to reveal whatever we were supposed to reveal about ourselves and step into our power in this, God, profound way. And I also had this realization of what circle is to me. Now, I teach a lot about the importance of the why as your driving force. And this retreat was at Quest Haven, which is this gorgeous spiritual center, essentially, founded by this woman in 1940, who was a mystic. And she essentially she created she founded Quest Haven, and it's 600 acres in the middle of San Diego. And it's in this part called Elfin Forest. And my friend and I were talking about how it feels like Quest Haven and Elfin Forest were essentially under the veil. There was like the mist that separated it from the rest of San Diego, but now people are starting to go under the veil and discover this area. More and more people are moving there. The fact that I've known about Quest Haven, this was my first time going there. And I felt so deeply connected to the land. And this was the land that I grew up in. And it brought me back to remembering the community gatherings at my property growing up. We had 2 acres, not a lot of neighbors, similar, land as Quest Haven, and I spent so much time outside, but we had this incredible backyard where we would bring community together. So I grew up with that felt sense of belonging in community, and every holiday at my house, 50 to 100 people showing up for these gatherings. I knew the importance, and I wanted to recreate that. And that's Sistership Circle. That's this vision for De La Diosa, our retreat center. And then when I was, I think maybe 8th grade, maybe 9th grade, I was in Hawaii, and I was reading the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. And a whole new world opened up. And I remember being on this hike, thinking about the way, because that's what this book is about. It's about finding the way. And in fact, I'd love to revisit this book and see what new messages come through for me, 30 plus years later, or 30 years later. And I then went on this quest for truth, to find the way. And that led me to Circle. And so what I realized is Circle is that intersection for me of the way and community. Because what was missing for me with community growing up was spirit, was soul, was the depth that I get in Circle, right? It was just normal people getting together and having a good time, which there's nothing wrong with, but my soul craved the depth that it wasn't getting in that community. But in Circle, I do. It's the place where I feel met in the depths. It's the place where we take off our masks and we drop right into this heart and soul space with each other, where we can really truly be seen in our vulnerability and our authenticity. And it's so deeply fulfilling, right? So the community that then is developed through Circle is one that is spirit-led and soul-based. And it's the thing that I always was looking for. That realization at the Mastery Retreat created this context for me in moving forward in what am I creating. Because at the deepest level, what's most important to me right now is family and community. And that's not quite here yet in Costa Rica. That doesn't mean it's not coming. That doesn't mean it's not going to be built. But following these messages back to San Diego, back to my roots, to be in community, to be back with my family, and to go to Burning Man, to be with that community, feels integral to my mission, feels essential to the next stage of development in Sistership Circle, De La Diosa, whatever the next level of my my leadership and my the containers that I'm holding. This feels like really truly the frequency upgrade that I need, and that actually Brent needs as well, because we had this agreement and this understanding that Burning Man really is the start for both of us to match the energetic frequency of the project in which we are committed to creating. And all of this feels like the answer. Not the answer. It's leading us to the answer, right? We don't know. It's a whole new dimension. It's a whole new frequency that we have been building towards that we haven't quite embodied yet. And it feels like we've just been putting all the conditions in place in order to then make this leap, because it's a leap. So that's what I got for you today as we step into season 4. We have a few interviews coming up, and then I'm going to be diving into circle work for a few weeks and more interviews, and maybe we'll even throw in a couple coaching calls, because I think those are always so insightful and powerful when we get to witness a sister in the hot seat and to make that public and live here. And so I hope that you enjoy our time together for this next quarter. It's going to be 12 weeks in length. And that you leave us a review, because the reviews are what help us to grow, what help to get the podcast out there. So please leave us a review, and I'll see you inside. You just listened to this show. I'd love for you to leave the Brave Woman Podcast an honest review. Reviews help podcasts like this one grow, making it more possible for me to devote my time, energy, and money to its production. If you take a screenshot of your review and email it to support@sistershipcircle.com, we'll send you one of our archetype activations as a thank you gift. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Up next, if you're looking for a soul-nourishing conversation, this is it. We're going to put a soothing balm in any of our mother wounds as we dive into a beautiful conversation about community and belonging.